Remove the rubber grommet by prying up with a screwdriver. Underneath we have a flat plate with the divot going down. Then two springs, one inside, one outside. The divot actually fits down inside that spring. Pry up on that with a screwdriver so you can raise the clutch arm up high enough to get the two plastic pieces off. These are two pieces that break in half and have a hole down the middle, which is on the clutch arm. The raised up portion goes up. Place a 6-inch, 1/4-inch extension in the vise and tighten down the vise jaws. Make sure that the ball has been removed and set the hole down on top. Notice that when I'm holding the clutch arm down with one finger, you can see the indexing portion the way the Bendix is made, so that it indexes a little bit as it goes into the flywheel. Holding the Bendix up with the lever arm on the bottom, set a 15mm socket on the top and tap it down with a hammer to get the retaining collar off the snap ring. For the next step, we need a pointed right angle tool shaped to a point, common for windshield grommet removal, and a pocket screwdriver. Use the windshield removal tool to get underneath the snap ring and start prying it up. Then use the pocket screwdriver to get underneath it and walk it off in a circular motion. So here we have the retainer cup and the retainer ring. The gear comes off. There's a spring underneath. And the nose cone comes off. You'll see the two horseshoe clips down by the gear housing. Then on the other side, you'll see a slot for a screwdriver. Wedge a screwdriver in there and pry up. You'll see the small peg for the male and female parts where they fit together as a unit. There's an interlocking system on the Bendix. Once you get it to the right position, it'll lock, and turn it a little bit clockwise or counterclockwise, and it comes right off. There's locked, just a little bit of a turn one way or the other, and it comes right apart. Then you put the new Bendix on. Put the new Bendix on and try it until it locks. Then take the two horseshoes and drive them back on with a 1/4-inch extension and a hammer. There's a bearing down inside the drive-in housing. Put the housing in the vise. Stick a screwdriver down in to the edge of the inside race of the bearing and push the seal back out of the way so that when you drive the bearing out, you're not hitting on the seal. Work in 180-degree increments. You can also use a 1/2-inch socket set down through the hole so that it clears the hole on the aluminum but sets on the inside race of the bearing. Put the drive-in housing in an oven and heat it at 300 degrees for approximately 20 minutes. Put the new bearing in a freezer for that amount of time, 20 minutes. Then select the largest socket from your toolbox so that when you drop the bearing in, you want to tap only on the outside race. Hold the Bendix in one hand and put the fork installed as shown. A little bit of dielectric grease or white lithium grease on the fingers will help. The U shape should be up. Also at this time, you can put the plastic plunger assembly on. The raised up portion goes up. After the Bendix shaft falls down through the bearing hole, take your finger and push the clutch arm fork up and down to check travel. It should be free. You can put a little bit of oil on the shaft. Put the 6-inch extension back in the vise and tighten it up. Then set the drive-in housing down on the hole. Hold down on the clutch arm with your index finger. First thing we put on is the spring, then the gear. Make sure that the chamfer on the gear is up, not the flat side. Then while holding the gear down against the spring, set the retainer cup on with the cup up and put the snap ring exactly on top of the shaft. Then we're going to put the 15mm socket exactly on top of the snap ring and use it as a guide to tap it down on. Alright, for this part here, you're just going to have to either grow 2 more pairs of hands or get somebody to help you, because it's a 2-man job getting this snap ring to pop back into the retainer clip. One guy has to pry up on it with 2 sets of screwdrivers, and this is mounted in the vise just like we're showing. And it's a 2-step process. Then the other person can work the snap ring by tapping it down in a circular motion. Start on one side and tap it down in with a screwdriver, this size right here, and start on the gap, right where there's a gap, and get one side of it down in and then work it down in. And as this guy's prying up, it pops down in. And there's a shot of what it looks like when it's all the way down in. You can see it's clear down in. And we recommend a light coating of a 2-part epoxy, such as DevCon, that's purchasable at Grainger. Just set it face up and let it dry. Takes about 10 minutes. Some sort of fast drying epoxy. JB Weld will work. You just want a light coating going down in this area right here. You don't want to hinder the Bendix to be able to continue to index. You just want a light coating of it on the very outside of that diameter. And here you can see the DevCon or any 2-part quick drying epoxy. Just a little bit of it in that ridge so that the cup is retained to the retainer ring. Okay, put the 2 springs in. The divot goes down. And then the rubber grommet. After you're done, push up and down on the clutch arm to make sure you got free travel.